Okay, let's unpack this wild thought that's probably zipping through your mind right now because it's definitely in mine. Are we being watched by aliens? And I mean right this very second, Monday, May 19th, 2025, at what, exactly 11:02 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time? It sounds like the opening scene of a classic sci-fi movie, maybe, or, the premise of that late-night documentary you just can't stop
Oh,
watching.
absolutely. It has that kind of magnetic pull, doesn't it? That sense of wonder and maybe a touch of the uncanny that's really gripped us for generations.
Yeah.
From ancient myths right up to cutting-edge science, the whole idea of cosmic observers, it really sparks the imagination.
Yeah, but it feels like more than just a fun what if, though, doesn't it? I mean, if we are under some kind of alien scrutiny, it forces us to confront some pretty fundamental questions. Like, are we just a tiny speck in this massive galactic picture? What would an advanced civilization even, make of our world? Our successes, our failures, our streaming habits.
And the why. What are the potential reasons?
Oh.
Are we some kind of cosmic petri dish experiment? Or maybe just a source of endless fascination?
Right. Or could it be something a bit less benign, like being monitored as a potential threat?
Exactly. You get the idea. So our mission today really is to dive deep into this captivating theory. We want to sift through the information we have and, let's be honest, acknowledge the huge gaps in our knowledge to see if there's any, well, compelling reason to believe we might actually be under alien observation.
Okay, so let's start with maybe the biggest hurdle. One of the most persistent arguments against ongoing alien surveillance is just the distinct lack of hard evidence. We
Right.
haven't found undeniable alien tech lying around. We haven't intercepted clear, repeated signals that scream, "Hey, we're here!"
Right. No smoking gun.
And despite countless claims over the years, no physical proof of extraterrestrial beings has ever really stood up to rigorous scientific scrutiny. It's that silence of space. I always think of Neil deGrasse Tyson's point, extraordinary claims need extraordinary proof. And it makes you wonder if this surveillance, hypothetically, has been happening for, say, millions of years, which is, short on a cosmic scale, but still vast for us. Wouldn't there have been some kind of slip up, a dropped alien artifact, a signal we just couldn't miss?
That is the absolute core of the skeptic's position. Over those kind of immense timescales, you'd think even accidental traces of advanced alien activity should be detectable somehow. Skeptics often point to famous sightings like, remember the 2011 Phoenix lights? The Air Force eventually said, military flares.
Yeah.
Or back in 1980, the Rendlesham Forest incident, that likely involved a bright lighthouse beam plus, serious Cold War jitters.
Just easily misconstrued stuff.
Exactly. These examples show how natural things, or things we can explain, get misinterpreted. And now, with our tech getting so much better, think about the James Webb Space Telescope launched in 2021. The argument is, well, if there was a significant active alien presence watching us, surely JWST or something similar should have spotted something definitive by now.
But then, okay, you have the other side, the folks who look up and just see possibilities everywhere. They'd say, hold on a second, the universe is huge EE. We're talking, what, an estimated 2 trillion galaxies?
Precisely. Scientists like Seth Shostak at the SETI Institute really hammer this point home. Our current ways of listening and looking at the radio telescopes, optical searches, they're still pretty limited when you think about that sheer unbelievable scale.
So the absence of evidence isn't necessarily evidence of absence in this case.
It makes proving a negative pair, proving they aren't here, incredibly difficult. We're still grappling with the Fermi paradox.
Ah, yes, if life is probable, where is everybody?
Right. And a big part of that might just be our detection methods. Are we looking for the right signals on the right frequencies? Are we even looking long enough?
Or maybe, getting into the more speculative territory, maybe they're deliberately avoiding us, the zoo hypothesis idea.
Yeah.
Or their tech is just so far beyond us we wouldn't even recognize it as technology.
Those are definitely possibilities considered within the paradox. And remember, the buzz back in 2020 about phosphine on Venus. Now, its status as a definite biosignature is still being debated, even today in May 2025. But just the suggestion of potential life so close really reignited the whole conversation.
It did, and it makes you think about things like the Drake equation.
Yeah, formulated way back in 1961. It tries to estimate the number of communicative civilizations out there based on different factors. A lot of those factors are pure guesswork, frankly. But even being conservative, some estimates point to potentially millions of civilizations.
Millions. Which just makes the silence even louder, in a way.
It does. And that brings us back to ideas like the Great Filter. Is there some hurdle, some bottleneck that most life just doesn't get past? Maybe advanced civilizations inevitably self-destruct, or they go silent for some reason. That could explain why we seem alone. And as you touched on, we can't entirely rule out super advanced stealth tech,
Yeah.
cloaking, communication methods beyond our electromagnetic spectrum. Who knows?
It really does boggle the mind, but this idea, this feeling of being watched, it's not exactly new, is it? People have been seeing strange things in the sky for ages.
Oh, absolutely right. If you dig into historical records, you find these intriguing echoes. Take some interpretations of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs around 1500 BCE. Some people see objects in them that look uncannily like modern descriptions of flying craft.
Huh.
Yeah. And then there's a 13th century Irish story from County Down about a phantom ship appearing in the sky. The description sounds surprisingly like some modern UFO reports. Now, of course, these could just be misinterpretations of natural events through the lens of their time. Comets, clouds, whatever. But it shows this long-standing human fascination with weird stuff in the sky, kind of persistent curiosity about what's out there.
It's like we've always been looking up, wondering if anyone's looking back. And then you fast forward to the mid-20th century, the start of the modern UFO era, really. Kenneth Arnold's flying saucer sighting in 1947, that seemed to light a fire under the public interest.
It really did. And things like the 1952 Washington, D.C. incident radar blips, later blamed on temperature inversions, just kept the idea of unexplained things flying around in the public mind. But if we look at more recent, maybe more compelling cases, the 2004 USS Nimitz encounter really stands out.
Ah, the Tic Tac incident. Yeah, that one gets talked about a lot. What makes it so significant?
Well, what's compelling is you have multiple things coming together. Credible, trained eyewitnesses experienced Navy pilots and corroborating sensor data, like radar and infrared. This happened November 14, 2004, off the California coast. Pilots like Commander David Fravor encountered this smooth, white, oblong object, the Tic Tac shape.
And it moved in ways that shouldn't be possible.
Exactly. It showed flight characteristics that seemed to defy our understanding of aerodynamics. Incredible speed, instant acceleration, erratic movements, hovering with no visible propulsion. The Pentagon actually declassified video footage in 2020, stuff from the ATIP program, that's the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Plus, you have Commander Fravor himself on record saying he believes it was, quote, not from this world.
Wow. Multiple trained observers, sophisticated tech. That's harder to dismiss than a blurry photo.
It is. And it's exactly the kind of incident the Pentagon's current office, AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, is investigating. They're actually due to release a report later this year, 2025.
Which, naturally, leads us straight into the whole government involvement angle. Cover-ups, secrecy. That's a huge part of the UFO lore, isn't it?
It's a massive thread, yeah. It raises big questions about transparency versus, genuine national security needs. You have figures like Bob Lazar, who claimed back in '89 he worked on alien tech at Area 51. His claims are, let's say, heavily debated and lack independent proof. But they fuel that cover-up narrative.
Sure, Lazar is controversial, but then the government did admit to funding 8.
They did. That $22 million budget revelation in 2017, and then the official release of more Nimitz footage. That certainly showed some level of official interest in spending on UAPs, or unidentified aerial phenomena. We also had those more speculative claims in 2020 from Haim Eshed, the former Israeli space security chief, about governments working with aliens, though he later clarified that was more his own interpretation.
Right, but then you always have the official, more mundane explanations, too. Like Roswell in 1947, the official story is still weather balloon, despite all the theories. It feels like these two narratives are constantly battling.
They are. But it gets more nuanced when you compare stories with, say, substantiated military reports. In 2021, the U.S. Navy officially confirmed 3 encounters Nimitz in '04, one in 2015, another in 2019. And in these cases, the object showed flight characteristics like going over 500 miles per hour with no obvious propulsion that really challenge our current tech understanding. This data is coming from AARO, from trained observers using advanced sensors.
So not necessarily aliens, but definitely anomalous, unexplained.
Exactly. It doesn't prove alien life, but it strongly suggests phenomena are being observed that we just can't explain right now. And the 2023 UAP hearing in Congress, with military witnesses testifying, that definitely poured fuel on the fire of public interest and speculation. So right now, today, May 19th, 2025, it still is ongoing debate. Is knowledge being withheld, or do we genuinely just lack the answers for some of these weird observations?
Okay, so while some people are digging through files and looking for debris, others are literally listening to the cosmos, SETI. They've been at it a long time, right? Since the 60s.
Yeah, that's right, 1960. What's remarkable about SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, is its direct scientific approach. They use these huge radio telescopes to scan the skies, listening for artificial radio signals signals that wouldn't likely occur naturally, suggesting a technological source.
And they found anything.
Well, there's the famous wow signal from 1977. A really strong narrowband radio burst from the direction of Sagittarius. It lasted 72 seconds and had a lot of the hallmarks you'd expect from an ET signal. But it's never been detected again, despite loads of follow-up searches. So it remains this incredibly tantalizing, but ultimately unexplained mystery.
Wow, a cosmic hello that just vanished. And now we have newer projects like Breakthrough Listen. Much bigger budget, I hear.
Much bigger. Launched in 2015, backed by $100 million from Yuri Milner. It's a massive expansion of the search. They're scanning millions of stars, covering a way wider range of frequencies. As of now, May 2025, no confirmed artificial signals announced, but they're constantly gathering data. It's a huge undertaking.
And while they're listening, others are looking, finding planets everywhere.
Absolutely. The exoplanet discoveries have exploded. Over 5,000 confirmed now, thanks largely to NASA's Kepler mission. This just drastically changes the odds, doesn't it? It shows planets are common, potentially habitable ones too, like the TRAPPIST-1 discovery in 2018, an Earth-sized, possibly rocky planet in its star's habitable zone just 40 light-years away.
And finding signs of life on those planets, that's the next frontier, like the water vapor on K2-18b.
Yes, detected in 2019 on K2-18b, about 110 light-years away. That was a huge step for astrobiology, finding a key ingredient for life as we know it in an exoplanet's atmosphere. Which, interestingly, brings us back to the start. If other civilizations are out there, could they be using similar methods to watch us?
We've been leaking radio waves for about a century now, haven't we?
Roughly, yes. Our earliest strong radio signals have traveled about 100 light-years out, so potentially detectable within that bubble. But there's the inverse square law. Signal strength drops off dramatically with distance. Think of it like shouting across a huge stadium. The further away, the fainter the sound. Our signals might be incredibly weak by the time they reach another star system.
Makes perfect sense. So even if we're broadcasting I Love Lucy reruns, they might be too faint to pick up easily. But whether anyone is actually watching or not, the idea of it, wow, it's had such a massive impact on our culture.
Oh, undeniable. Think about movies. Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind back in '77, that sense of awe and wonder. Or, more recently, Arrival in 2016, exploring the sheer difficulty of communication.
And TV, The X-Files, obviously. That show basically defined a generation's view of UFOs and government conspiracy.
It absolutely did. It embedded those ideas deep in popular culture, exploring paranoia, belief, the unexplained, and it continues today. You mentioned that new Netflix show, Extraterrestrial Files, just out in March 2025, analyzing declassified footage. The fascination is still strong.
Totally. And social media is buzzing with it constantly. You see theories, debates, memes. Like, I saw this hypothetical post just yesterday, May 18th, from some user like at UFO Lover 123 speculating about the upcoming ARO report, and it supposedly got like 10,000 likes.
Right. That real-time engagement shows how much this captures the public imagination. And this cultural interest isn't just noise. It can actually influence policy. Look at the UAP task force set up in 2021 that partly came from growing public and political pressure. But it also means we have to be careful, right? Distinguishing credible info from misinformation is a huge challenge. Remember that infamous alien autopsy video hoax from the 90s, which resurfaced again around 2017?
Oh yeah, classic example. So much noise makes finding the signal really hard. Okay, so we've looked at the skepticism, the optimism, the history, the government angle, the science. Let's try and pull these threads together. Evaluating all this, where do we actually stand on the possibility of alien surveillance? What are the key takeaways?
Well, if we weigh it all up, the 2004 Nimitz incident, it remains really compelling. You have the radar, the infrared, the pilot accounts of something truly bizarre. But crucially, still no definitive proof it was alien, just unexplained. Then you have SETI, decades of listening, 65 years now, and silence. No confirmed, repeatable artificial signal.
Though, as we said, space is vast, our methods are limited, so maybe not conclusive proof of absence.
Exactly. The sheer scale argument is powerful. Right. But the bottom line remains, no unambiguous physical evidence. No crashed ship, no alien artifact, no undeniable signal. That's a big hurdle for the surveillance hypothesis.
But what about those theoretical ideas? Like maybe they're using tiny, stealthy probes. Or communication methods we don't even understand yet, like quantum stuff.
Those possibilities keep the door open, theoretically. Michio Kaku's zoo hypothesis, which you talk about again in 2024, the idea that advanced civilizations might be observing us like we observe animals in a nature preserve, deliberately hands off. That's one way to explain the silence.
And reports keep coming in, don't they? Like that Chilean pilot report from just last month, April 15th, 2025, describing a cylindrical object sounding a lot like the Nimitz Tic Tac.
Right. These accounts continue, adding layers of intrigue, which is why many are looking towards that A or O report expected in June 2025. Will it shed new light? And we shouldn't forget private efforts, like Avi Loeb's Galileo project, launched in 2021. They're actively looking for unusual interstellar objects, like that Oumuamua-like anomaly they reported tracking in 2024.
It really feels like we're gathering more puzzle pieces, even if the full picture isn't clear. So let's just speculate a bit more freely now. If they're watching, why? What could be the motives?
That's where it gets really fascinating, thinking about alien psychology, if you can call it that. It could be pure science. Studying a developing technological species, its biology, its society, maybe resource assessment, analyzing Earth's potential from afar. Or maybe it's sociological, or even anthropological, just observing our cultures, our conflicts, our art, maybe.
Imagine them watching something like the 2020 pandemic unfold. What would they make of our response, our resilience, our chaos?
It would certainly be a data point, wouldn't it? Showing our global interconnectedness, our vulnerabilities, how we handle crisis, could tell them a lot about us, for better or worse.
It's like we're in this giant reality show for an audience we can't see. Which raises some big ethical questions, doesn't it? Like meaty messaging, extraterrestrial intelligence. That project in 2023 that actively beamed messages out, was that smart? Should we be shouting into the jungle?
That is a huge debate within the scientific community. The potential risks versus the potential rewards of making contact. It goes way back. Even in the 50s, there was debate about whether we should have tried to send a reply to the wow signal. If it repeated, do we engage or stay quiet? We still don't agree.
So here we are, Monday, May 19th, 2025, 11:02 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, give or take a few seconds. And the big question, are we being watched? Still hangs in the air.
Right now, at this moment, the honest answer is still, we don't know. We have these tantalizing clues, Nimitz, thousands of exoplanets, this deep cultural resonance, but no smoking gun, no confirmation of alien surveillance. You have the skeptics demanding hard proof and the optimists pointing to the vastness and the unexplained anomalies. It's a healthy tension, scientifically speaking.
But the question itself, whether the answer is yes or no, it feels important, doesn't it? It reflects our fundamental curiosity about where we fit in the universe. Are we lone? Or part of something much, much bigger?
Absolutely. And pursuing that question, whether through SETI or telescopes like Webb or analyzing UAP reports, it drives science forward. It makes us look outwards and also inwards at our own civilization and our place in the cosmos.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. Given all this, why might an advanced civilization choose just to watch, not interact? The zoo hypothesis.
Absolutely.
Something else. Or, flipping it around, what should our next steps be knowing this possibility exists? Keep listening quietly, send more messages. It's definitely something to chew on. And hey, if these big cosmic questions grab you, maybe check out our other deep dives on things like black holes or the ongoing search for life closer to home on Mars.